Hello everyone, welcome to a new cinematic composing video. I'm Alejandro. Today I bring a topic that has been coming to me once and again during the tech coaching sessions at Momentum with the students, and that is exporting stems, exporting tracks. There are many times where people say, my tracks don't sound the same in the DAW, and when I export it, there's some problem with the export, the reverb is not exported. So today we're gonna see how to do this properly in Logic Pro, and I will give you three options of how you can export your tracks. Okay, so the first option is very simple, right? So for example, I have made a quick example here with a snare, and that's it. So it's very simple. It's just like we solo one track, again, the track that we want to export, and everything that is in the signal flow of this track will be exported when we bounce from the stereo. If we go to the mixer and we go to single, we will see everything that is related to this track in the signal flow. That means this is connected to the bass percussion, and it's also connected by the basses 20 and 21 to this reverb 1 and 2. So the easiest way would be just like go to stereo out and bounce, and you just select how you want to bounce it. In my case is 48K, 24-bit and wave. Okay, I recommend you to use at least 24-bit. And the start and the end, okay, you have to define it. My recommendation is that you really put some markers here, and whatever is here will be defined by the cycle, these numbers. Okay, so normally I'm gonna do it like real time, not include the audio detail, and normalize off. Click on OK, and in this case I'm gonna do it here in exports, and I'm gonna call it like snare bounce, dry bounce. And if we go here to our Finder, we just play this, it will play exactly what we heard. It's exactly the same. The export is correct. So let's say that we want to apply some effects on this snare, like for example, these passes, okay? In which like in one is a reverb, and in the other is like reverb plus distortion plus delay. Just let's listen to it. Okay, it's just with some effects in some sense. The word send is important here, okay? It's the key to understand why sometimes the exports work or not. If they would be in the track, it always will export. But when it's in the sense, we'll see in a bit what's the problem with that. So I'm gonna do the same, I'm gonna export it, same, and I'm gonna call like bounce with effects. And now check if actually it's like that. It's exactly the same volume, same everything. So this is a slow method if you want to export many tracks, but at the same time it's always very effective and you don't have to tweak so much. If you want to export, instead of a snare, you want to export a stem. For example, let's say that we have here not only this, but also bass drum, tambourine. I know, let's just listen to it. You have two options, okay? You can just like solo these tracks, or directly, if you want to export all your percussion, you just solo your percussion stack, and every instrument here is routed to bass 4, and bass 4 is the percussion, okay, as the input. And I will go here to bounce, to stereo out, and do the same. Perfect. We now check it. It's exactly the same. So that's the first step. It's just selecting the ones that you want, click on solo, and just go to stereo out and bounce it, okay? And everything will sound exactly as you hear it in the DAW. So now, option number 2 is using the export menu. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to do it. This is gonna be quicker, but it can have a little bit downsides. With the second method, exporting with a menu export, you can do many at the same time. So now I want to export, for example, these 3 tracks, the tambourine, the snare, and the bass drum. So I'm just gonna do that. Again, I set the locators, the cycle here, and I go here to File, Export, 3 tracks as audio files. And this has the options that I recommend you to do. Range, export cycle range only, save format, you can do WAV-AV or CAF. Bit depth, again, 24-bit. Bypass effect plugins. If you want to bypass them, you do it. If not, and if you included like some volume or pan automation and you want to export them, then you do it too. And normalize off, okay? So let's just do it, and we're gonna export. My tambourine, correct. My bass drum, correct. My snare drum. Oh, what happened with the snare drum? Why it sounds dry? Why it doesn't sound like this one? with effects. This is because when you export this track or a group of tracks, if I would export the percussion, it would happen exactly the same. I will not have in the percussion that I just exported the effects on the snare drum. No effects. That's because we are exporting whatever is in the track or in the tracks. For example, in the percussion, it exports everything that it's inside the stack, but we are not exporting whatever it comes out from the auxiliary channels. Okay, it's just like it goes from a line, but it doesn't take into account whatever is like parallelly acting through the stereo out. So if we play it, you will see that here's some signal. But unless you export these two, okay, as a tracks, you will not get the export when you want to export the snare drum. Solution one is just that you select these tracks, these reverbs, and you go and create track. They get added to the arrangement. So in this case, you would have to export not only the percussion one, but also these two. Okay, so I do this, I go to export 3 tracks as audio files, I do the same, and voila, here we have our percussion dry. And here we have the effects and the reverb. Okay, separately. Very important that sometimes when it doesn't sound as we expect is because we have some sends here that are not considered to export when we export from the menu, from the file menu. But in case that you want to put them together and to export it together, not separately the reverbs, there's still a workaround. And that's, for example, if in the case of the snare, I would take the reverbs. So in this case, I would go to the mixer and I would select that the output of the sends, I want them to be routed to the percussion. So in this case, the sound goes directly from the snare to the percussion. And also the send goes here and the output of the send goes to the percussion too. As a result, the percussion stack will receive the direct signal of the snare plus the wet signal of whatever effects it's on that. But let's just check it for one last time now. Okay, and now if we just export the percussion stem, one track as audio file, check here. Exactly, and we get the same. Very important, don't activate the reverbs here and feed at the same time the reverb from the one that it's gonna receive, because then you're gonna have like a lot of feedback and it's gonna be very, very bad. Make sure that if you do this method, you send information to the effects and reverbs from the individual instruments inside the stack and not from the stack. If you want to do it from the stack though, there's still like a very nice workaround. And that's using a third auxiliary channel where it's gonna call, like, for example, I call it like a percussion stem. Okay, I just create it. What I do here is here I'm gonna sum the signal from the effects and the signal from the percussion. So in this case, the percussion is going to go to bus 10. Okay, this is the one that we call it like the input. The effects are also going to go to bus 10. Just let's listen how it sounds now. Very nasty, but it doesn't matter. For the example, it works. And now I would export from here. I would select this one and then go to export one track as audio file. And here, in theory, it will compress like the signal from all percussion instruments plus the signal of the effects together. Let's see if it's true. Very important, by the way, this auxiliary channel that you just added, it has to be included inside the track stack. Okay, otherwise it will not work properly. But once it's in the track stack, I have to set the output to the stereo output. Let's see if it works. Exactly. It's a little bit more workaround, but at the same time, you can do many more. That's only for the percussion stem, but I could select all the tracks that I want. I could do it all in one, just file, export, 5 tracks, whatever, and everything would work. Just like the only one that they would include dry signal, original signal, direct signal, plus the effect signal would be this one, because we just like put it together. And now let's see the last method. It's actually to make prints inside the project, and that's very easy to do. It applies the same that we have done before, but we just click on plus and we create an audio where the input is the bus of percussion. Okay, just create, and we're gonna call this like perc print. And if we have done everything correct, when we click on record here and we just record as normal, we will get the print of the percussion, of the whole percussion, plus included the reverbs and effects. Let's see if that's true. Let's solo this. so it works. I have been doing some experiments before, and if you don't do, for example, the routines that I was suggesting, you just get, for example, just this for the snare. Or for the snare with reverb, you get this. Okay, that's a very good print. And this is with the reverb on the bass. I didn't do it. It's just like what I did last time. So remember that here now you have the audio files. You can mix on them, or also you can find them in the pool under the project files. And you can always, these files, audio files, will be stored inside the Logic project, okay? So you will be always have access to them. Last but not least, I want to remind that if you apply any effects in the stereo out and then you export only one portion of that, for example, I do some compression, it's not gonna be the same compression if you compress the whole orchestra or if you compress only one section. The effect only in this section is gonna be way more massive than what you were listening in the whole mix. Okay, so take that into account, because that can be one of the reasons why it is not sounding the same what you export that what you listen in your DAW. Okay, no effects on the some of the stereo out, especially compression, limiting, or something like that. So that would be everything from me from the side. If you like the video, just click online, throw me some comments, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a nice day, and bye bye.